hi, Katy.
Hello. How are you doing on this sweltering summer day?
I am sweltering, or I'm feeling the swelter. Thank you for having me
Yes.
at your lovely home.
We are recording today in the middle of the woods in the Ozarks.
Mm-hmm.
So you may hear some forest sounds.
Mm-hmm. The breeze is blowing today, thank goodness, because it is very, very, very hot. So you'll hear our breeze blowing and cooling us off.
And hopefully us not getting attacked by wasps or flying, stinging creatures, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I don't think I could have more bites than I already do, but I guess.
You say that.
I have a few blank patches of skin left.
Me too. I woke up in the middle of the night and just sensed that I had a tick, and I did. And there it was, sure enough.
It's so true. I can sense their presence at this point.
I don't know where it came from because I check myself pretty thoroughly before bed, but they're just showing up.
They are. I found one the other night too, after having showered. So
He was a hanger in or hanger on or.
I don't want to think about where they hide, but
Moving on from ticks for now. I'm sure we'll revisit that topic because that is just a never-ending blessing for us here in the Ozarks. I don't know that the chiggers are really out thick yet, so that'll be
a
to
whole
talk
other thing
about.
to look forward to.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We hope you're enjoying our podcast so far. I think today we're wanting just to continue our conversation. Our last episode, just talking about how to get started. And specifically, this time I think we want to turn our attention to the gear that we bring. And, the gear that most any backpacker is going to need out on the trail.
Yes. I would say it's going to be all about gear, but it's actually probably pretty condensed because gear is one of those topics that could go on endlessly. So
I'm sure we'll revisit most all of these individual topics under the gear umbrella. So in later episodes.
Gear is a big old chunk of the experience. And honestly, for me, kind of one of the more fun things to pursue research-wise. Like, I can definitely get lost in researching gear, and it's fun to see what all's out there. Sometimes not so fun to see what all is not feasibly in my budget, but that's
Right.
okay.
Right. But we're, I feel like, constantly updating something or other, so it's going to be an ongoing topic.
Yeah. Something that I would like to mention, like, speaking about budget, just real quick, I think we both kind of have a background of having grown up in the outdoors. So, if budget is a factor, I will acknowledge that some things I've been lucky enough to kind of already have, old family items, and some of those things I could definitely upgrade, but I really love them, but they have saved me from maybe having to spend as much money as you might have to if you're going into it completely without anything.
Very true.
At the onset. So I do just want to acknowledge that I'm pretty lucky to have grown up in the outdoors and sort of had like a little bit of a head start on some of my stuff, though I have been upgrading and making it my own stash.
Yeah. Same here. My husband and I, we spend a lot of times outdoors, kayaking and doing that kind of thing. So I do have quite a bit of outdoor gear. Not all of it works for backpacking, but some of it luckily has worked for me, and it's, saved me some money here and there, although I feel like upgrading my gear is just going to be a lifelong process anyway. It's never really over, I don't think, so.
I kind of look forward to that, honestly.
I know. You evolve, and the things you need, the things that we'll need will evolve with time too, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. Well, let's just jump right into some things here. I know that we wanted to go over some terminology that when you're reading about backpacking, you see certain phrases and sayings come up time and time again. So I'll start. Maybe Katy can explain a little bit exactly what this means, but one that's very important and you see all the time, and it's something we all have to adhere to when we're playing in the outdoors, and that is to leave no trace.
Yes, and you will see it all all sorts of commentary on this with people's personal opinions on just how far you can take it. But the 7 basic leave no trace principles are to plan ahead and prepare, to travel and camp on durable surfaces. So I would kind of define that as, for the most part, you're staying on trail, you're obeying any signage that they have posted. Like sometimes you'll see signs about how they're trying to restore vegetation. So durable surface, even if you're going off trail to pee or whatever, you're trying to be a little bit mindful of what you're stepping on and how hard it might be for it to come back if you trample it. Same going for where you're pitching your tents. Number 3 is to dispose of waste properly. That's all waste. Your toilet paper waste from when you go to the bathroom, you need to be carrying that out with you, not burying it in your cat hole. These sweat bees are getting me.
They are attacking you.
They like me. It's also your food waste. I mean, basically anything that you're carrying in, you are carrying out. So that's part of planning ahead, is making sure you've got some pretty decent, big Ziploc bags or whatever to carry your trash out in. Number 4,
Oh, God.
oh, they're getting me, is leave what you find. So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
But, if everybody wants to pick the wildflowers or pick up pretty rocks or whatever, eventually there's not going to be much left, is the thought behind that one. Number 5 is to minimize your campfire impacts. I feel like that's relatively self-explanatory.
Right.
6, respect wildlife. Give them their space. Be aware. But also I would say that kind of ties into whether or not you're carrying bear canisters and all of that, like trying to keep them from getting accustomed to having human food and stuff. Number 7 is just to be considerate of others. I think that could be pretty broadly defined. The things that come to my mind is like, if you want to listen to music or a podcast or something, you should probably bring earbuds and not be, creating noise pollution for others who might just want silence. If you bring your pup, you need to have them on a leash. Not everyone is comfortable with dogs. When you're passing other hikers, just be considerate. I think generally whoever's walking downhill needs to yield to who's walking uphill, but that list could go on and on. So do some reading, especially in forums. People will definitely tell you.
Yeah, they will let you know what their opinion is, without a doubt. Well, thank you. I think the reason we wanted to include the leave no trace phrase kind of within our gear conversation, that it really defines and impacts the gear that you do have to bring.
Yes.
To follow those principles, there's certain things that you're going to need to bring along in order to do so. So,
Absolutely.
well, just to jump right on to some other terminology, and we're going to kind of explore some of this in depth as we go along. But Katy, can you tell us, what are the big 3 when we're talking about backpacking? The big 3.
The big 3. So that's your pack, your shelter, and your sleep system, which includes your sleeping pad and your sleeping bag, and a pillow if you choose to use one.
Awesome. Another one that I see quite a bit is the 10 essentials of backpacking.
These are navigation, illumination, sun protection, a first aid kit, a repair kit. Some people include a knife as part of that, some do not. A way to make fire, shelter, extra food, extra water, and insulation or extra clothes.
Awesome. So we'll get into some of that a little bit more specifically. I think something that we wanted to maybe differentiate a little bit is between the different styles of backpacking, right? So we have traditional, lightweight, and ultralight are 3 kind of categories there.
Yeah, and typically traditional is going to be defined as having your base weight be 30 pounds or less. Lightweight is 20 pounds or less, and ultralight is 10 pounds or less, which sounds like heaven, but
Yeah, sounds like a day hike for me.
but costs a lot.
So can you tell us what is a base weight? What do you consider your base weight?
So the base weight is basically all of your survival items, like pretty much those items that are not rotated out.
Okay.
So, like, you would exclude your clothes, your food, your water. It's your big three and your 10 essentials, I'd say. But
Okay.
and I've heard it defined different ways, but basically it's the static items and not things that are rotated out or you may or may not bring from one trip to the next.
Okay. I'm looking at these different styles of backpacking, and I would like to be heading more towards the ultralight and lightweight side of the spectrum, but I guess as of now, considering my base weight, I'd have to say I'm a traditional backpacker.
Yeah, same. I think I'm traditional moving towards lightweight. My base weight the last few trips has been sort of halfway between those. I would love to get to lightweight bordering on ultralight, but I'd be so happy with just like a 18 to 20 pound base weight.
Yeah.
That sounds superb.
It does. It does. Yeah, I'm not there yet, but maybe someday.
Yeah.
Well, let's just jump right into some of these essentials. Obviously, number one, you're gonna need a pack.
Oh boy. Yeah, so there are lots of different types of packs, and the reason why we wanted to define the types of backpacking is that it will in turn define the type of pack that you go for.
Right.
Because there are frameless packs, there are packs with internal frames, and there are packs with external frames. So your external frames are kind of like, in my mind, like my dad and older brother's old backpacking trips for Boy Scouts. They had the big old external frame with all the stuff strapped on, and so
Yeah.
they're pretty old school. They're definitely heavy.
You don't see them a whole lot.
Yeah, you don't.
Anymore.
You know, I could see them still having their purpose, but I think most internal frames these days are able to handle quite a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So, and then your frameless backpacks are what probably most ultralight people are going to be using.
Okay.
They do have a maximum weight capacity of about 22 pounds. So anything above that is going to be uncomfortable to carry, and you risk kind of busting your pack because they are made to be lighter weight, so they're not really as durable.
They're not going to be able to carry my 40-pound behemoth bag. Hopefully not. Hopefully I won't have a 40-pound behemoth, but it's been known to happen. Well, I guess I just wanted to make the point that if you are brand new to backpacking, it can be pretty overwhelming, the number of options. There's so many different volumes and sizes and different fits for different folks. So I am a big fan of seeing if maybe a friend or family member has one you could borrow just to try out, and you might learn some things about what you like or what you don't like.
Yeah.
I also think that finding used gear can be a great option, especially if you're just starting out and you're not certain what you want or need when you're actually out in the woods. So I just wanted to maybe make those recommendations.
Yeah, that's a great place to start because it is an investment.
Yeah, and you know, you don't want to invest a ton of money into something that just doesn't work for you at all. Of course, you can resell, and that's a great option. But if you're like me, you want to get it right the first time. So
Yeah, same. And, you know, a well-fitting pack makes all the difference in the world. If it doesn't fit you properly, you're just kind of setting yourself up for aches and pains that aren't necessary. Backpacking always comes with some aches and pains, but having a pack that fits really minimizes some of that.
Right. And I'll say I would recommend to, if you do find a pack, is to go ahead, if it doesn't come with one, to get a pack cover. I think mine came separately, just to keep you covered during the rain and whatnot.
Yeah, mine did come with one. You will also see it recommended to have your pack fitted, and it's probably a really great idea, but we both live pretty rural and pretty far away, so neither of us had ours fitted, but we did do just a ton of research.
Yes.
For myself, I'm very short, and so it was important to me to find reviews that specifically mentioned it working well for a petite frame.
Right.
And so the one I ended up going with is also adjustable for the torso length and everything, and it's just absolutely perfect for me. So I'm pretty happy with it. I guess it's can be considered a risk to order it without trying it on, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of a reality of where we live.
Right.
So
It's not really just an option to shoot off over to REI here
yeah.
and, yeah, try some things on. So we have to do our research. I will say there are differences in how men's packs fit versus women's packs. Women's tend to be, I think, narrower through the shoulders and some other areas that women just in general aren't as broad as men. I kind of learned that the hard way because I started with the men's pack and it just didn't fit me very well through the shoulders at all. And then when I did get my own pack, it just was a world step up, you know.
It makes so much difference. And we were complimented on our fit also
Yes.
when we were hiking a bit in Georgia.
Yes, by like a professional fitter.
Yeah.
Complimented our fit, so we did good.
I was very startled, but then just overwhelmed with gratitude.
Yes, I needed that.
Quite a compliment
Morale booster.
on a tough day. So one other factor is going to be the capacity of your pack. That's kind of determined by what kind of backpacking you're thinking you might like to do. If you're thinking about just sort of being a weekend warrior versus whether or not you want to go for a week or longer.
Right.
They measure the capacity in liters. I have one that's called 45 plus 10, so the general pack is like 45 liters, but it has this little part on top that expands to allow an extra 10 liters. That's worked for me on the longest trip, which has been 9 days.
Right.
She was packed to the gills, but it did work. It did fit in there.
Yeah.
I worry about some of the longer trips where I might like be required to carry a bear canister if I'm going to get everything to fit, but
Yeah.
I'm going to cross that bridge when I get to it.
Yeah. I think mine's a 60 with a 10, what is it? Is it gallons? Are they in no, they're in liters, aren't they? Anyway, I think it's a 60 liter with an extra 10 liter kind of expansion top as well. It is probably too big for a lot of the weekend trips that I do go on, but she can handle a week plus.
Yeah.
So, I love her.
I love my pack
She's a
too.
good pack.
I'm very attached to mine as almost a living entity, so.
I feel like we've talked about our packs some already.
We have.
Otherwise, I would launch into my, my like loving, complimenting.
It may come up periodically, and I guess folks may have to just deal with it because we're in love with our packs.
We love our packs. I love you, Betty. All right, well, let's move on. What is the number 2 big item of the big 3 items?
Shelter.
Shelter.
And I just want to throw this in here. Everyone's different, but I did see recently it recommended, and it actually made total sense to me. But this backpacker recommended actually choosing your shelter before your pack, because depending on what shelter you go with, it could sort of determine what capacity you do need in your pack. Some of them take up more space. So I kind of thought that was a good idea, actually.
That is a good idea if you have kind of the luxury of doing it in that order.
Right. I mean, sometimes you just got to get what you can get,
Right.
but that did make sense to me. So
yeah.
anyways.
Ideally, I think that probably makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But some of us are just taking whatever we got in the basement and shoving it in the pack too, so.
Yeah. Or not taking it at all and just mooching off of you.
That's okay. I did want to throw out, a lot of people hammock tent on trail. I personally do not. I've seen some really cool systems. I think it's a great idea. It's just not something that I know enough about to not only to do it, to hammock camp, but even really to talk about it that much.
Same. Like, I think all I have to say about it is that I am curious.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of leave it at that, I can't see investing in it right now because I'm not interested enough.
Yeah.
But if I could, try out a system up here in my woods where if I didn't like it, I'm just right here.
Yeah.
I would be interested in that. So.
They are pricey, though. I think some of the nice setups are pricey, so it's an investment. So you have to kind of be sure that that's what you want.
Right.
But again, not my jam at this point in life, so I won't try to pretend to know much about it.
Some people also do just the tarp tents, which again I have no experience with. I've seen people seem pretty happy with it, and it cuts weight, which of course is a priority for most.
Yeah, it's crazy, just bring in your tarp and, a lot of them set up with the poles and it's just like just a few ounces to bring it, which sounds great, but I personally enjoy having a shelter with a floor in it.
Same. It's difficult for me to imagine. I don't want to get in this too much because I just don't know, but I imagine maybe it changes the sleep system that you choose as well.
Right.
So, anyways, and then there's good old tents.
There's just good old tents. We like a good tent.
Which we both have. A few things when choosing a tent that you might run into are single versus double wall.
Okay.
And the definition is basically right in the description. A single wall is just one piece of fabric, and double wall is usually the rain fly and then the tent. So mine's actually a single wall, and it has pretty good venting. Some of the pros of a single wall is just that they're really lightweight, and you don't have to carry poles.
Right.
Like mine uses trekking poles and guy lines. That can become a con if you're having trouble finding ground that's good for driving the stakes in. Or I was just reading, which I haven't experienced this, but if you are caught in a pretty badass storm where it's just pouring and windy, I have experienced the wind. So in a single wall, there's like not really a way for it to flow through as much, so it just like catches those walls and whips them around like crazy and pulls stakes out. But also a concern is if it's like torrentially downpouring and the ground's getting really muddy, the stakes can just come out. I haven't dealt with all of that, and to be honest, I feel like a storm and whatever you have is kind of just a storm, but
yeah.
So they are super lightweight. I like mine. The only other, I guess, concern is that since they have to incorporate the venting into the tent itself and there's no like extra protection over the top, they can be a little colder if you're camping like in the fall or winter or whatever.
Okay. I never thought about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I do use a double wall. I have a little 2-man tent that was actually my husband's, and I've kind of commandeered it.
It's a great tent.
It is a great, great tent, but I put some miles on it, and it's starting to show some wear, but it's a good tent. I do like, I guess, the aspect that if it's really hot and it's not supposed to rain, I can just take the rain fly off and sleep in the screening. It has one little vestibule on the side under the rain fly, and I love sticking my, I don't know, whatever kind of gear I want under there sometimes. And anyway, she's a good tent. But I'm kind of on the market for a new one.
Yeah.
Do we have some great advice if we were giving to someone that was shopping for a tent? What would we say?
I mean, I always just say shop around, but also I think it helps to have a decent idea of what kind of backpacking you want to do location-wise. Like we said, the single wall versus double wall, there's pros and cons to both. Although I will say double wall seems to be like to get more pros maybe than the single wall as far as just overall sturdiness and maybe being more acceptable for more seasons. Really the cons are just that they're heavier and you have to carry the poles. Are the main ones, but you want to look for something that's really well vented because condensation can be like one of your biggest issues.
So true.
Which is why a lot of people shy away from single wall also, because in the double wall it's usually like the main tent part has a lot of mesh and venting because you have the rain fly to protect from rain, whereas the single wall kind of have to have less of that. So
it's true. Although you still have to, if you want that rain fly to open up, you still have to bring stakes or some sort of paracord or something to actually, pull it out and stake it open to where it's getting air. I think we've experienced times in my tent that I didn't have it pulled out enough and didn't have it vented enough, and we collected a ton of condensation in the tent. So I feel like that's something you're going to deal with no matter.
Especially with two people.
Yeah.
I don't have it written down, but you can easily find when people are talking about tents, like how much moisture we exhale, like within a night.
It's crazy.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. So take the time to, if you have the option to pull your rain fly out and let some air flow, do it. Yes. Even if it's cold and it seems like counterproductive, do it. Because it will just get wet and cold inside your tent.
It makes a world of difference. That's one of the main things I would say is look for good ventilation, good reviews, a fit for the type of terrain and the type of weather you're camping in. But also, I will say, don't be afraid to try an inexpensive tent, because my tent was $56 and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it could easily have gone the other way, but I guess if it did, it was $56 and I could return it, I suppose. But
Yeah. Well, you did your research too.
I did.
Mine is definitely on the lower end of the budget. It's a little bit more than that. It's a bigger tent, but I love my tent and it's done a great job for me, and it wasn't ridiculously expensive. So,
Yeah. I would also say I would watch some of the videos on how to set them up, because easy setup is such an important thing to me. It may not be to, everybody, but I do not want to get into camp and fumble with a tent that's just like way more complicated than necessary.
Right. And chances are at some point you're either going to be putting it up or taking it down at dark. So that's another factor too. And would you want to just give us a quick little explanation of what seam sealing a tent is?
So they make seam sealing tape or seam sealing agents that you basically just run all over the seams of your tent to really make sure that it's watertight. The reason that I wanted to mention this is that I have heard that some companies actually don't seam seal their tents themselves.
They don't.
So that's a big thing to pay attention to, because if they do not, you're going to need to do that yourself.
Right. And it probably will be kind of a pain, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw it recommended, like mine is seam sealed. I saw it recommended to do it again. I have not, because I don't feel like fussing with it, but I probably should. I keep wanting to set my tent up in the rain and see how it does. I just haven't yet, but
the timing hasn't quite worked out that you've been caught in a downpour.
Yeah, but yeah, really big one to pay attention to, I would say, because if you are not aware and you start out on your trip without having done it and get rained on, you're really going to be miserable.
Well, I think some really expensive brands don't seam seal. So
isn't that crazy?
You can't just assume that your tent's ready to go.
If I were paying that amount of money, they better have seam sealed that sucker like 3 times.
No, they better deliver it with like a singing choir of men. And I don't know.
It better come with a box of chocolates.
Yes. And a bouquet of flowers. Well, and that kind of just rolls right into our next gear topic, which is your sleep system. What do you put in that tent?
So your sleep system, again, it works together. You've got your sleeping pad, which I said that very casually, but it's actually a really significant element of the whole of being comfortable when you're sleeping. So you've got your air inflatable pads, and then like the closed cell foam ones. They're kind of like the old accordion fold up ones.
Right, the roll up, they're fold up.
Again, you'll just kind of have to do your research, maybe borrow to see what style you like. I don't necessarily mind my inflatable one. But
no. I have a cheap inflatable. It works pretty well for me. It's not a winter pad. No. I know that. So that's something that, if I'm going to do much colder weather. Hiking, I'll probably have to upgrade. I did want to touch on, when you're looking at backpacking, sleep pads, and whatnot, something you're going to see come up is the R value. The R value of something is the capacity to resist heat flowing out or through it. So the higher R value a sleep pad has, the warmer it's going to be for you, the more insulated it's going to be.
Yeah, so that would be a big one to pay attention to when you're looking at them. And then, again, they come in different lengths, shapes. So kind of whatever suits your fancy and your budget. I
don't think mine even has an R value.
I don't know if mine does. If it did, I'm not sure it's still applicable. Did they lose R value over time?
I don't know. I don't think mine has any R value, to be honest with you. It's not really meant to be warm. If I brought it in times of cooler weather, I usually will bring something to put under it and over it to try to increase the insulation abilities of it.
Yes. I definitely don't feel like it insulates me very well, the one that I have. So I have definitely fiddled with it and found the solution of the shiny emergency blankets.
Yes, please tell us. Tell us more.
Well,
Did we talk about the emergency blankets yet?
not yet, but my Lord and Savior, the shiny emergency blanket that costs like $1. I have carried, like, this to me should be on the 10 essentials. I would include it as, like, insulation because it saved me from so many cold nights. I also had a sleeping bag that was not warm enough, which we'll get into, but I would just wrap this thing over me and it kept me so warm. And now I've got to where I'll put it underneath my pad, between the ground and the pad when it's cooler, and it really works to insulate. So if you are dealing with, gear that you just happen to have already and you're not ready to upgrade, you can totally make it work.
Yeah, definitely. And there are ways to increase the warmth on things too, so
Sleeping bags, I guess, are the next big part of your sleep system.
yeah. So I think one of the first things that you'll consider when thinking about getting a sleeping bag is whether you want a down bag, filled with down or filled with synthetic insulation. Just quickly, kind of some of the difference there is that down is super lightweight and it can be super duper warm. Down is completely worthless when it's wet. That is definitely an advantage that synthetic insulation in your sleeping bag is going to have. A wet synthetic bag is still going to keep you warm, whereas a wet down bag will not. So I think they both have pros and cons. Yeah. Down is expensive, so you just kind of have to compare and contrast and consider, really what your needs are going to be.
Right, and they do, I believe, have blended ones as well.
Yeah.
Like partial down and partial synthetic.
That's interesting. And sleeping bags, they come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. It seems like once you get into kind of specifically down, but the lower temp bags, sleeping bags designed to keep you warmer at a lower temperature, you're going to start seeing mostly of the mummy style bags.
Yeah,
you don't really see many of the wider bags for, extreme cold. There's men and women's bags, and there are differences in how they are designed. Even within the same version of a bag, the women's bag is going to be designed to be a little bit warmer because women's body temperatures do run lower. They need more insulation to keep their body temperature, within the correct range. So women's bags are going to be a little bit warmer. And I've learned this partially because the bag that I have now, the women's version of it, is just too short for me, and they didn't have a tall version, so I ended up just buying the men's regular, which is fine and dandy. I do wish that I could have gotten the woman's version just because I know it would be that much warmer for me.
Yeah. And warmth does seem to end up being a factor. A lot of times here we're hiking in the spring and the fall because they are like the nicer seasons during the day, but it can dip down in the evening. So
right.
I've definitely had issues in the past with my old sleeping bag.
Yeah.
I do have a new one. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I ordered a child sleeping bag because I'm basically child-sized, and it actually saved me a lot of money to do it that way.
Yeah.
Mine is synthetic, and something I wanted to talk about is the temperature ratings, and just being aware that they are not always like a comfort temperature rating. They might be more about survivability.
Right.
So, for example, mine is rated 20 degrees Fahrenheit, but while I could like sleep at 20 degrees and not die, I was not very comfortable when I tested it myself. I think I was comfortable to about 30 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to take into consideration, and definitely if you're really interested in a particular bag, I would scour the reviews and see if someone helpful has posted that has actually comfort tested it. The other thing that I have heard is that whatever nighttime temp is going to kind of be maybe the regular one you're camping at, to go 10 degrees below that. So I don't know how accurate that is. I've just come across it enough that I feel like it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I know my bag is also rated to 20, and I would not be comfortable at 20. Yeah. And anything below freezing, honestly, it's starting to get chilly in there. I do think it would probably keep me alive, but you know, a 20-degree bag for me is not really a true 4-season bag. But I think that just depends on where you're hiking and whatnot too, and what your needs are.
Again, you can bring that shiny foil blanket.
Exactly. Well, and another option is, which I personally do not have yet, but I am super interested in purchasing, is a liner.
Yes.
You can get different season liners. I think some for like spring, some for the cold weather that are really going to up your insulation factor of your bag.
Yeah, I do actually have a very old one that I think was from my dad and older brother's Boy Scout stash. But it's pretty heavy. It's like pretty heavy duty fleece, so it's not really ideal for me. I've used it like car camping, but it's not really ideal for backpacking. So I am also kind of in the market for a liner, just not one quite so intense. I really feel like all I need is an extra 10 or 15 degrees maybe.
Me too. I honestly might end up getting 2 sets because on one hand, yes, I do want a liner to increase my warmth. But honestly, I would like a liner to use maybe in the spring and summer just to help keep my bag cleaner.
Yeah, totally agree.
I rub my stink off on it.
Yeah.
Poor thing. You know, I do have a down bag. I try not to wash it very often if I can help it, but I get gross in there, so.
Yeah.
I'm on the market for a liner to help save my bag. Protect my bag from me.
Save it from the stink.
Yeah, the stink and the grime. So.
Oh, that wind's picking up. So one other thing worth mentioning is that more and more people seem to be gravitating towards using quilts.
Yep.
I don't personally have experience with them. Nope. I kind of like the concept.
I would love one.
Yeah.
I don't know that it'll be anytime soon.
Right.
But I do think it's super cool.
I'm wondering if I could just, like, make one out of an old sleeping bag.
You probably could. Well, I've seen what you can do with the remnants of an old sleeping bag, so I feel like you could.
Maybe someday I'll try that out and see how it goes.
Don't they just sound cozy, though? Something about it. I mean, there's nothing really that quilt-like about it, but it does kind of appear like you can kind of wrap up in how you want in it.
And a little more freedom of movement.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, that little the mummy shape on my bag, I deal with it, but it's not my favorite.
Right. I don't really enjoy feeling like a burrito all the time. But
no. My feet rebel and start kicking.
I will say, I did camp somewhat recently, and I got surprisingly chilly because it really wasn't supposed to be that cold. And I woke up halfway through the night and realized that the bottom part of my sleeping bag was unzipped and my feet were just out. I was like, no wonder. It would have been nice in the summer, but...
Yeah. This makes sense. Well, going along with that sleeping bag, you may or may not find yourself wanting a pillow.
Yeah. I don't feel like there's a whole lot to say about pillows.
No. I have an inflatable one. It's okay.
Same.
I'll often bring a cotton pillowcase from home just because I don't really like the surface of my inflatable. Although it is soft and plushy, I just like having a pillowcase. It's totally unnecessary, but I enjoy that. So
one of those creature comforts.
Yeah.
Mine's also inflatable, and again, it's okay. It just was on sale, so I got it. I'm kind of interested in getting a compressible one because I've heard some things about that, and I think it's only about $20, which I don't really mind. I think that's okay amount to spend, so
reasonable.
If it's more comfortable than my inflatable one.
Right. Well, and I want to mention that some people don't bring a pillow at all. A lot of folks just wad up clothes or a jacket and use that. So that's an option if you just really don't want to add any more weight.
And that's what I started off doing, and to be honest, I don't feel like my inflatable pillow is so much more comfortable. I kind of I like having it, but if I were to analyze, I don't know that it's that much more comfortable than just using my clothes or whatever.
I agree. I think it is enough more comfortable that I keep bringing it, but I don't know that it is at this point that necessary for me, but mine's not that comfortable. So, and I just also wanted to say, when we're talking about sleeping bags, pads, pillows, you have to weigh all of these items' capabilities with their weight, and so that's just an ongoing battle.
Yeah, just
in
trying to
packing your
whittle
stuff.
it down.
Yeah, I have a super duper warm sleeping bag. I mean, I think it's a 0-degree bag, and it truly is. It's also like 12 pounds,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
So starting backpacking, collecting this gear, it's just constantly weighing literally the weight,
Yeah.
you know, versus its capabilities, and if, you know, there's a way to make it work for you at the, you know, weight that it is at, or if that's just too much and you might have to give up on it. So
Right. And the sleep system, your shelter, your pack, those big three are a huge portion of your base weight.
Right.
So,
not really optional.
right.
You know.
So as much as you can do, but again, you know, budget for so many people is a huge factor, but it doesn't mean you have to, you know, completely sacrifice comfort. It's just,
right.
you do kind of have to match it all up. If you are doing your research and realize you can't afford a sleep system and a shelter system that's ultralight, then you can't be buying an ultralight pack. Like,
Right.
just go with a heavier pack, and, you know, a heavier pack and heavier gear that still fits you well is still better than, you know, an ultralight pack that's packed full and lumpy, and
So yes,
it
I
does
so agree.
all like really work together, which can be tough when you're trying to just like pick things here and there and make them all work.
It's true, but I really want to reiterate too that it kind of drives me crazy that it can be so much for people, but it's my dream that budget doesn't stop anyone from spending
yes.
time in nature, although I think it does every day.
Unfortunately,
So,
I would love for the industry as a whole to find a way to make it more accessible
right.
across the board, but I think that's going to take a lot of time.
So I feel like we're going to revisit that theme a lot
Yeah.
of just, you know, exploring how spending recreation time in the outdoors can be more accessible for people, including accessibility within a budget. You know, that's a lot of what we're passionate about.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll come back to this topic many, many times.
We will. It is a reality for so many, and it certainly shouldn't stop you. You can still get out there. It's all weighing. Because the other thing is, you could go super ultralight on everything and then just like not be comfortable.
It's true.
So
It's
comfort
true.
is an important factor. It's not, you're always going to be at a certain level of discomfort, but
Right.
I think it's worth it to bring certain little comforts.
Definitely. I pack stuff that I don't have to, and it adds to my weight, but I enjoy them. I
Yeah.
enjoy certain things when I'm out there, so they come along. Well, let's move along on our remaining 10 essentials. This one's an important one, though. Let's talk about navigation for a second. I personally do always carry a compass. I need more practice with it. I love a paper map, so I almost always have a paper map in tow. I just think it's a good idea to have one anyway.
Yes. I do also carry a compass. Often a paper map, but sometimes it's redundant when I'm hiking with Sam and she already has one, so sometimes I won't because I know she's got that.
One of our party always has one, though. You know,
Yeah.
not every individual necessarily has to have one, but
Right. And so there's also some pretty useful apps that you can download on your phone. Some are free, some, I'll be honest, the free version is kind of worthless with some of them. It's if you're not willing to pay for a premium, I don't know. I've just run into that where I've downloaded them to try and then pretty quickly realized they were not really that great unless I paid for them. So,
yeah.
but I have used AllTrails around here with pretty good luck.
Yeah.
We used FarOut on the Appalachian Trail, and it was super handy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've heard of people using Gaia. I recently heard someone recommend another one. I feel like it was called OnX Backcountry or something like that.
Okay. Interesting. I
Which
haven't
I
heard of
was
that one.
not familiar with, but they really recommended it. So
Cool. I think it's kind of location specific too, because
Yeah.
here in the Ozarks we don't have FarOut, which used to be Gut Hook. Like they
Yeah.
don't have our trails, you know, uploaded here. I don't know that they ever will. AllTrails is decent for trails in the Ozarks, so it just kind of depends on where you're at and what is utilized most in that area.
yeah. I am sorry for all the flailing, but these sweat bees keep getting me.
The sweat bees are attacking Katy in full force. Like, as soon as I hit the record button, it was like they were waiting, and they came and they swooped down upon her.
It feels like I'm furiously digging through my notes, but I'm really just trying to wave them away from me because they're getting on my nerves.
How you're doing this, actually. You're not bothering me, but I would be highly distracted by the amount of bugs that keep trying to sting you right now. Okay.
So there are also guidebooks. A lot of people don't, which I will say that FarOut in some ways is almost more on the electronic guidebook side, in my opinion. It's another one of those weird bugs.
Oh, God. It was on my face. Okay.
So these strange unidentified bugs keep literally falling from the trees onto Sam and then just like falling on the ground. Immobile.
It's like comatose or dead.
We're gonna have to identify that later.
So weird. The other one's gone though, so it must have
Is it the same one?
crawled away. I don't know what he's like trying to get in my pocket. Okay.
He likes them overall pockets.
Me too, little insect friends. That's why I wear them like every day in my life.
It's getting harder for me to just wear anything.
Well,
I do live in the middle of the woods, so it is kind of a luxury, I will say. Not to get sidetracked, but...
we're already sidetracked. The bugs, multiple bugs.
Yeah, so guidebooks, classic guidebooks. I do have a couple of those. I have one for Minnesota. I don't know that I would carry one now, like the full book, but
Yeah.
I do love reading through them.
I do too.
A lot of times they have so much history.
I took one through Georgia when we hiked through there. I did love having it for just the little blurbs about the locations and whatnot. It wasn't that helpful as far as actually following the trail. I just enjoy reading them. I feel like, sadly, the guidebooks are almost becoming a little bit outdated.
I know.
Before we had all of this tech right at our disposal, that's what you had to use. So they're kind of a relic, and I enjoy reading them, but
Yeah.
I don't know how necessary they are if you can find a good map. And
Yeah. Speaking of maps, I don't know if we shouted out the Ozark Trails maps, but...
I feel like we have, but if we haven't, the Ozark Trail Association produces these maps of the Ozark Trail. I think there's like 10 or 11 sections now. And they're just the most fabulous maps, and I love them so much.
They're amazing. So even if we already mentioned them, we're going to keep plugging the Ozark Trail because it's pretty dear to our hearts. So.
Yeah, and they have some great maps, and they're a really affordable price. They're made out of that cool waterproof, kind of material paper stuff. And they're just super wonderful, helpful maps. And I love them.
Good job, Ozark Trail.
Yeah, good job, guys.
So one more thing worth mentioning, if you are going to be a solo hiker, the Garmin inReach, they are expensive. A lot of people have them. I would probably try to save up and invest if I were solo hiking more.
Yes.
Just because if something did happen, like being able to press that button and have someone find you and not be worried about like whether or not you have phone service or, it could really make the difference between a situation turning really badly. So that's something I see a lot of people carrying, and I do think it's a great idea.
Yes.
Especially in more isolated areas like ours. Even sometimes hiking as a pair, it is something that I worry about.
Right.
So,
you think our little Ozark trails aren't going to be that serious or sketchy. They can be. The terrain can be very serious. But there's just not a lot of traffic. So you can be extremely isolated out there. And, we've hiked for days at a time and not seen anybody on trail.
Not a single other human.
No. So I think it's a little bit location specific on if you feel like you'll need something like that. If I was a solo hiker, I would invest.
Same.
I hope to solo hike at some point, and that will be something that I hope to have with me. But they are pricey, so.
They are pricey, and they are pricey if you have to use them. A lot of people get insurance to help cover, like, emergency response costs. because
Do you know what it costs? Like, push that button?
I don't know. I've just heard that it costs enough that some people want insurance.
They're willing to pay like
Right.
a monthly premium to...
Which I really can't imagine, but I don't know. If you were really hiking a lot, I guess
if this was your job.
Higher chances.
Yeah.
Just something to think about.
Yeah, options. Well, moving on to some other pretty necessary gear. Let's talk about illumination. How do you like to illuminate, Katy?
Oh, well, let me tell you. I have this super awesome multi-use flashlight that also has a knife and a battery bank. So that is what I'm currently carrying. I really like it. I like that it's, multiple tools in one. It would be super nice if I could strap it to my head somehow, because I do have to hold it in my hand or perch it somewhere. So that's, the downside, but I'm kind of a fan of anything that has multiple uses.
I was going to say, you just love a multitasker, I feel like, do. No matter what. I just carry a headlamp. I also carry like this itty bitty extra headlight because I just have this fear that all my batteries and lights are going to die.
Yeah.
Everything. Because I bring extra batteries too, but I do have a cheapy headlamp. I would like a little bit nicer one that has like the red light and the blue light that you can use. I think they don't attract bugs.
Oh, yeah.
And such.
And they're a little kinder on your trail mates when you're like traipsing around camp and you forget that there's a light strapped to your head.
I try to like point mine up because I know it's definitely not going to shoot you in the eyes if it's not like...
There's enough of a height difference for us.
Because it is nice to have it strapped to your head.
But yeah, camp etiquette, folks. Remember when you've got your headlamp on that you're going to blind people.
You'll probably realize because they're going to be like squinting and giving you the stink eye.
Or dramatically throwing an arm over their eyes.
Yes. I thought you were going to say like dramatically throwing something at you. They might be doing that
too.
They
might do that too.
Yeah. So that's, pretty simple. Find light you like. If you like it strapped to you, it's pretty handy to have it.
It is.
Hands-free. But for a long time I didn't have a headlamp, so you make it work.
I will just briefly say that I always say, I'm going to quickly say this.
I say that too. We don't say anything that quickly, turns out.
I will sometimes bring my tiny luxury item of, they're just like those little wire lights. It's like a strand of it.
I love
runs
those.
Off a couple batteries. And sometimes I'll bring that and I like to wrap it around like my front trekking pole in front of my tent.
So romantic.
It is. And it's not that heavy in the whole scheme of things. Like, I know things add up, but sometimes if I'm just feeling a little extra bougie, I might throw that in my pack.
Well, and you've had those along for a couple trips that they just really, became such a morale booster.
Yeah.
I think we hiked with them one night. You wrapped them around your pack and yourself.
Oh, yeah, I did.
And I will never forget, following the glow of those twinkly lights.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I like them.
It's the little things sometimes.
Yeah.
Are we still rolling along okay? I guess we are. Hey, Michael. Just checking on you.
This whole episode is going to be me waving my notes and talking about sweat beads.
Well, there wasn't any until we started recording. There was none.
How did they know? They like my natural essence.
They sure do. All right. Well, from talking about what you need at night, let's talk about what you need during the day. How about some sun protection? Very important.
Sun protection. Yes. So, glasses, hats, umbrellas, sunscreen, kind of whatever suits your fancy.
Yes.
I personally, hats are hit and miss for me. Sometimes I wear them. Sometimes they annoy me. But I do kind of prefer wearing hats and keeping my skin covered more so than sunscreen. I don't enjoy sunscreen in general, but when I'm sweaty and filthy on trail, I really don't enjoy sunscreen. So
no, me either. I like to stay pretty covered even when it's hot, just because it does I just feel like it helps protect my skin not just from the sun, but from thorns and all sorts of things.
The Ozarks.
Yeah. I do usually bring a sun hat, but we're hiking in the woods a lot, so it's not always that necessary.
Yeah, I guess again, kind of location.
Yeah, sunglasses.
I have personally never brought an umbrella, but I have seen several backpackers recommend and carry like very small, lightweight.
Those tiny,
Yeah.
tiny little
Which I
umbrellas.
could see being pretty sweet if you were, hiking long swaths of just unprotected
Right.
trail.
Absolutely.
Because that would be rough.
It would be.
I'm
don't know
used
how
to
much I would enjoy
trees.
that. I know. I like the trees. I usually will put on a good mineral sunscreen in the morning, and then that's probably it.
Yeah. Me too.
I do carry lip balm, like in my pocket. I use it all the time. That has SPF in it.
Mine does too, and mine is like giant. It's like that giant tube, which kind of makes me laugh because I'm like shaving weight everywhere else, and then I have the biggest chapstick you've ever seen. But I love it, and it has SPF too.
Yeah, well, sunscreen's important. I've not always been the best about it, but I do love a good lip balm. And I did read that I think your lips are one of the most common places for skin spots to show up.
Really?
Because people don't often protect them. The bug is back, and I don't know where it's at. I think it's up here.
It's right here.
Oh my gosh, it's going down my shirt. Get out of here, you freak.
So the sweat bees are about me, and these unidentified bugs are trying to get into Sam's.
They
boobs.
really are. I don't know why. Okay.
Stay out of there.
You are not invited to that party today, sir.
That's the third one.
I know. But yet, I'm wondering if it's the same one.
That one is still on your book.
Oh, he is. He flipped over, though.
It's weird.
What a weirdo. I may take a picture.
Yeah,
Okay.
we need a bug idea. We're going to take a picture and throw it up on Instagram.
We
and,
should. The faraway day that this is posted, we should,
Yeah, you'll be listening to this months from now.
yeah, they're like, it's cold outside. Why are they getting stung by sweat bees? Okay,
Oh.
moving on. First aid kits. Very important.
Very important, very personalizable.
Yes, I will say you can buy first aid kits pre-packed. None of them ever suit my fancy for what I want in my kit, so I don't buy pre-packed kits, but you can certainly do that.
Yes.
I think Katy makes her own kit as well.
I do.
Would you like to tell us what's in your first aid kit, Katy?
I will. I'm flailing with my notes, but some of these items I've kind of traded in and out, but these are basically things that I want to carry mainly because I'd rather have them than not have them, but a lot of times I don't use a lot of it. Anyways, I just have a little ditty bag, and I've got Benadryl, Aleve or ibuprofen. I have Pepto-Bismol tablets and Imodium, which, thank goodness, I've never had to use, but would not want to not have them if I needed them.
Right, exactly.
I have Band-Aids, gauze, medical tape, some alcohol swabs, triple antibiotic ointment. I carry a little tube of New Skin. I've seen it recommended a lot. It seems like a pretty good idea. You could also carry super glue. I just actually didn't have either, so I thought if I was buying it for this, I would buy New Skin.
Yeah.
I carry some Benadryl cream, which I have not yet used, but I think it's a good idea for me personally because I'm really prone to poison ivy and just all of the itchy things. I react to bugs with like super itchy welts and stuff, so
They flare.
it does, and it can be so miserable and distracting for me, but if I take Benadryl internally, I'm also like a zombie, so
Yeah.
I think the cream is kind of a good idea for me.
Yeah.
On longer trips, I have carried pain relieving patches. I got some that are made by Tiger Balm, and they are the toots.
They are the tits.
They are so good, and they last a long time. I also have carried a tennis ball just to roll around on the bottom of my feet, and total luxury item, but I kind of like it. So
Yeah.
again, don't carry all the time. I did carry it on a longer trip just because I felt like my feet might need some extra love. And that's about it.
My kit's very similar. I'm just going to read over what I usually will pack. I kind of just leave it packed. I don't usually take things in and out too often. That way it's just easy for me to throw in from kayaking to backpacking or whatnot. I just kind of toss it between the bags of what I'm taking. So I've got Band-Aids, antibacterial ointment, alcohol wipes. I bring a tourniquet, specifically to hiking, foot care, I use Leukotape. I think Katy used moleskin maybe sometimes. Hopefully you won't need it a lot, ideally, but good luck with that.
You never know.
I have yet to come off trail without at least some hot spots on my feet, although the Leukotape has really helped me. I usually bring a tiny, tiny pair of scissors to cut said Leukotape, but also like to trim a nail or something, or even something grosser that if you had a bad cut or whatever. I bring stomach meds like Katy, some pain relief, allergy meds, and that's pretty much it. You just kind of have to personalize it to what you think you're going to need. I would try to bring like the tourniquet, some things like that, like hopefully that you'll never ever need, but you would want to have if if you do run into a bad situation.
Well, of course, if you're on any medications, have any things specific that you need. I've come across a few times in forums discussions on diabetics and how they carry their insulin. So that information is out there if you have specific health concerns and things that you need to carry. And I have carried supplements off and on too. I don't know if that counts as first aid, but I have carried like fish oils and stuff to try to help like boost my joints a bit. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember to take supplements though on trails, so
me too.
It's not an all the time thing.
Well, rolling on from first aid, a pretty related topic though, it's kind of like first aid for your gear, is a repair kit. I do bring a small repair kit. I think it has some extra buckles and straps in it. I also wrap duct tape around my trekking poles. That's kind of also what I consider my repair kit, is my duct tape. So
I don't necessarily have a specific repair kit, but I guess items I might include is I do carry duct tape. I do carry electrical tape sometimes. Then also I guess I could include my knife in that, and I do always carry extra cordage, which could maybe help something. So
yeah, I would just recommend anyone getting some extra buckles though too, because I just can't imagine if you were deep in somewhere and your buckles busted.
It's a good idea.
Ooh, Lordy. it'd be a problem. So
yeah, I might have to look into that because that's not something that I've carried, but yeah, that would.
You can get little kits, I think even at Walmart, for just next to nothing. So, and they're very lightweight. I don't know, I feel like they're probably worth it. Ideally you're not going to have problems, but yeah,
that's about it. I'm sure there's other things that people carry, but I'm not fully aware of what else.
We are not other people.
I mean, duct tape is pretty multifunctional.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a great repair item, duct tape. So
we got a helicopter.
Yes, we do. Maybe we'll just let it pass.
It's loud. Bug disappeared again, so it's probably going to dive bomb you before too long.
Oh, he's still there. Maybe they like that book.
He kind of matches it.
I know, he really kind of does. Sorry guys, we're pausing for helicopter noise break. It was directly overhead and very loud.
Don't they know what we're doing?
We're trying to record here.
This bug has fake eyes on it though, which is kind of cool.
I know, I saw that too.
Alright, we gotta stop talking about bugs and talk about deer, but it's kind of hard when they're dive bombing you.
It is. They're on attack. So we're just going to continue on with our 10 essentials here. Hard to believe we haven't got them done yet. But next, fire. Got to be able to make fire. Even if you don't want a fire, you probably need something, some method of doing so if need be in case of emergencies. We don't make a fire a lot of the time.
It's more so a survival item, and I don't think we mentioned, but the 10 essentials are sort of considered your survival items, and a lot of people recommend to even just carry these things in your day pack, just because this group of things is what can kind of make sure that if something happens, you're able to take care of yourself for a day or a couple days or however long you really need to. So
That's a great point, and I'm glad you brought up the day pack thing, because I've read that most people that need rescued off trails or get lost for days on end and get themselves in bad situations are often day hikers. They don't have the gear to stay out. You should bring the gear to stay out, even if it's just like your emergency blankets and fire starter and stuff like that. But
right.
oftentimes they set off on trails and they don't have gear that's going to keep them protected and safe if they do get lost for a few days. So, you sure can get yourself in a bad situation really fast if you don't have water or food or fire starter or anything.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, absolutely.
So you need to bring something no matter what to start a fire with. I usually bring a lighter, and probably I've got some waterproof matches kind of stuffed into some other gear as well.
Yeah, I have a little lighter that lives in with my little camp stove, and then as backup I do have a little like Zippo fire starter, and I do have a few matches that are actually just like thrown into my first aid kit for some reason.
Yeah, well, that's probably a pretty good place to keep them. Moving from fire to the exact opposite end of that spectrum, let's talk water. Let's talk our water gear.
Yes, let's, because that's one of my favorite things. So there are a lot of different systems, but at the very core, like, you're not just bringing water, you're bringing a way to clean water that you come across on trail, because when you are backpacking, you need to drink quite a bit every day, and you can't just bring like 8 gallons of water from your house.
Right.
So what I bring is, I have a wide mouth Nalgene bottle, which a lot of backpackers make fun of because they like to carry the smart water bottles and they're lighter, but I have multiple reasons for carrying my Nalgene. Again, it's multi-use. It's a nice wide mouth so I can mix stuff up in it.
Yes.
I could put warm water in it at night to keep myself warm.
Yes.
And my particular filter screws right onto the top of it, so I can filter my water directly into my Nalgene.
Yes.
Which I love. So those are my reasons. I also like having a place to put stickers. I'm not going to lie. I'm that person. So I carry a Nalgene. I carry a really old MSR dromedary bag. I think it holds 6 liters. My filter also fits onto it. It's the exact same width as the Nalgene. And then my filter is also an MSR. It's the MiniWorks EX filtration system. I have had it since about 2015, and I've had kind of a tumultuous relationship with it just because I didn't really understand how I was supposed to take care of it. So it's a ceramic filter, and it pops apart pretty easy. You don't have to do like the backflow thing, but it does come with a little scrubby, and you do just have to wash the little ceramic filter off gently after you use it. And once I figured that out, we've been getting along just great. The major drawback is that it's a heavy filter system. It's over a pound, but it's worth it to me to carry it because I already have it. I've already invested in it, and it's really high quality as far as what it filters, and it's going to last me a long time. It has already, but they have a really long lifespan, so
you guys have a working relationship, you and your filter.
We do. I'm surprised I haven't named her.
Yeah.
Because it's been a whole like evolution of.
She's kind of like a coworker at this point.
She is.
I personally use a Sawyer, like a lot of people. It works just fine for me. I also carry a Nalgene. I didn't know that there was controversy until you mentioned that to me recently, but I think that people should have a lot less opinions on what other people carry or not.
Agreed. They need to calm down.
They really do. I like to mix protein powders and whatnot on trail. The Nalgene makes it super easy for me to dump powder in and also just to wash it out.
Yeah. Get
my hand in there and like get it clean. And I'm just kind of attached to it, and I get weirdly attached to inanimate objects, including my Nalgene. So I do as well. Feel like I have to explain myself on that one. So I use a Sawyer squeeze. I did just use a Sawyer bags for a while. I had seen a lot of people recommend, and I don't know how to pronounce this, if it's CNOC or just CNOC. They make these really wonderful water bags. So that's my dirty water collecting bag. It collects so much easier and faster than using the bags that the Sawyer comes with, and I just love it. So basically I've kind of got it set up now I have this 3-liter CNOC bag that just runs right into my Sawyer, and I've got a tube running from it. So just like I've kind of got it set up now into like a tiny little gravity system, which is just really pretty wonderful for me because I'll get it, you know, tied up in the tree and get it filtering, and then I just kind of get to sit there and have a snack. It's not the fastest system, but it's easy and it works really, really well for me, and I'm just absolutely tickled with it, to be honest. So,
and that's what matters, is find one that you like.
Right.
I forgot to mention, like, my dromedary bag, it does have a hydration hose, so I don't just use my Nalgene. I do have the hydration hose.
Yeah.
But it's not quite as streamlined as a bladder, but
yeah,
I personally am super tough on my gear, so I like it because it is like super durable fabric. It's not the plastic.
Terrified of popping my.
Yeah.
I do carry a bladder just for water, and I'm so gentle with her.
I know.
Well, and I should mention that I actually I use a mini squeeze from Sawyer, and that is kind of sacrilegious to a lot of people. You know, the mini, a lot of people would consider just is not fast enough, isn't big enough, all these things. I don't know, guys. It works just fine for me, especially with my gravity system. Like, it just trucks through it, no problem. And I honestly appreciate, at times, just to slow down and let it do its thing. And
yeah, well, it comes down to finding the gear that suits you, because we're not speed hikers that are trying to pound out like 30 miles a day, you know. So we really like any excuse to take a little break.
Right. A lot of the beauty of the entire experience is to sit down and just like soak it in for a little bit. So
just chill, reflect,
take that heavy ass pack off.
Well, and I personally, like, not to say that other people aren't paying attention just because they're going so many miles, but for me, if I were to just be moving at that pace all day, like, it's important to me that I do take breaks, because I got to pay attention to like what my body's doing. And I don't know. I just think it's important to try to catch something right at the onset before it develops into like a bigger issue than it needs to be. For example, like, your knees hurt walking downhill, but if you're paying attention, like, you can tell what's a regular hurt and what's like, oh, okay, something's a little off there.
Right.
So just as a side note, for me personally, I kind of like those little breaks as a time to like check in with myself too and make sure I'm not like at the onset of some injury.
Right. For speed is not why I backpack. I backpack because I like traipsing through the woods.
Yeah.
And speed isn't always an element of that. So I guess, you know, there are a lot of different, back on topic, there's a lot of different water filters available. You kind of just have to explore. You can get kind of like the simple bottles with the life straws that you can, especially for day hikers, I think those would be awesome.
Yeah.
Things like that. You know, you have to look at kind of the capabilities of filters. They can't clean absolutely everything out. I don't think any filter can remove like all viruses, heavy metals. If you are backpacking in an area that has like a lot of lead, things like that, you have to be aware of that. Usually that kind of information is pretty easy to find on your maps and things like that. But a lot of people will just use the water sanitizing tablets. I think they're probably a pretty good idea to bring along, whether you use them or not. Some people filter and use tablets on top of that. Sometimes these people have had kind of a bad experience of some like
I don't blame
nasty
them.
intestinal
that can mess you up for a while.
Then you're going to be pretty hesitant to want to try the water. So
you
have to explore your options.
You might consider carrying more water if you are going to have a stretch where, you know, like you talked about the metals or whatever, but you know that you're going to be moving out of it. You might just think about carrying some extra water.
Yeah, in general, I think when you're talking about preparing your gear for water collection and filtering, you know, you really have to take into consideration the stretches you're going to be on, how much water you're going to have to carry to get from one spot to another safely, how much dirty water storage you need, how much clean water storage you need. And it's just going to be kind of trail dependent, but these are all things that you're going to have to think about before you get out there.
Yeah.
You know, the proper volume of storage, whether dirty or clean water, will just kind of depend on the specific needs of your trip. So,
yeah, I will say in general, I carry it like a minimum of 2 liters.
I try to never leave a watering hole with less than 2 liters on me, but
So,
sometimes more though if you know it's going to be a long stretch.
yeah.
And of course we try to plan our camping to be near water so we can not have to carry so much water for coffee or cooking or whatever, but that doesn't always work out that way. So
Yeah, it doesn't. And then, that's where like your apps or your guidebooks, not to circle back, but they can be helpful with
yes,
trying to like plan that out,
gotta do your research. You gotta research just about every mile. Well, and I just touched on this a little bit, but let's talk cook systems a bit.
Alrighty.
I believe what they call white gas, but is it propane and butane mixed?
I think so. It's like the mixed fuel.
Yeah, I think so. I just have a really cheap little stove that I use. It's maybe starting to wear out. It's not wanting to work just quite as well as it used to, but it was very cheap. And that's what I use. I know a lot of people use buy the jet boil systems, which I'm sure are much more efficient than what I'm using, but
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I've got the cheap little screw-on one that uses the mixed fuel, the little single burner, I think they call it, and
yeah.
I'm pretty happy with it. The downside for me is just there's no built-in wind protection, so that can be a pain.
We've talked about building our own little windscreens, which we may still do.
I might just do that with some aluminum foil, but so those are pretty common. They're relatively lightweight. The main thing is just trying to guesstimate how much fuel you have at any given moment, but it sort of comes with experience. You'll get a feel for it. My mom did have a little jet boil style, just a cheap version, and I will say that it boiled water in 2 minutes flat. It was pretty incredible.
That's pretty nice.
The thing to consider about that, though, I don't want to get off track, but it's kind of on track because those come with their own little pot and stuff that you can also use as a bowl or whatever. So for me, I can't really justify getting a system like that because I already have a cook pot and stuff
things
that I bring.
You like.
So anyways, that is, if you have a separate little pot or whatever that you want to bring or that you love, that's just an extra piece that you don't really need.
Right.
So
that's a good point. There are other fuel burning stoves, right? Like alcohol stoves.
Yeah, there's the alcohol stoves. There's the liquid fuel, like the MSR Whisper Light style stoves.
Okay.
There are BioLite stoves, which is basically the little tube that people use sticks and fire in.
Okay.
Solar stoves exist. I don't know that backpackers use them.
Right.
I've seen them mentioned, but I just feel like if you're wanting a stove to cook on, I feel like that's maybe too many variables there.
Yeah, unless you live in the desert.
Yeah.
Or hike in the desert or something.
I think you might not want hot food.
That's true. Well, and that's kind of our last point here on our list is that some people bring no stove.
Yeah.
Some people don't cook at all.
They cold soak or they just eat prepackaged foods.
I mean, some folks eat some junk, but when you're out hiking those kind of miles and burning those kind of calories, you can
kind of just
pretty much eat whatever you want. I do try to fuel my body with nutrient-dense foods, but that's kind of another topic. In fact, we cook at camp. We dehydrate our own meals. This is a topic that we both really enjoy and are pretty passionate about, so I feel like we're going to come back to food.
We're going to save it for its own episode because it's that important to us.
It is, and I feel like we're just going to keep revisiting it over and over because we keep trying new recipes and new methods and this and that. Cold soak, hot soak, all these different things. It's really fun. So we're going to save food for another day. But you better bring some food. Don't forget food.
Bring food. Make sure it's high calories and as low a weight as it can be.
Right.
So besides your stove, you'll probably put together some sort of kitchen kit. I think we both have just sort of put ours together.
Yeah. So I think you'll be looking for lightweight materials. Yeah. Aluminum, titanium, silicone. There's lots of good options out there for backpackers these days.
There are. So in my kitchen kit, besides my little stove and lighter, I have a super old as hell camping pot. I think it is aluminum. No idea where it came from. It's just like in one of those totes of camping gear that we've had for millennia. But I love it. I'm just kind of attached to it. It's like the perfect size for me. I think it weighs about 10 ounces with its lid, which it's not super lightweight, but it's perfectly fine. So I've got that. I have a tiny spork from a fancy tuna packet. I have a plastic spoon that's like really hard and it's kind of long, and I don't know from whence it came, but it's kind of perfect for backpacking and camping. So I bring it. I have a little gelato container, which I use as a bowl. I've used it for cold soaking. I've used it to put my leftovers in when I cooked too much the night before. I've also used it to mix up protein shakes. It's just honestly pretty awesome. And the perk is that I got to eat the gelato to even have it. So
that is true. I do see you using that thing all the time when we're out.
I love it, man. And they seal up really nice and tight. Like I cannot.
I may have to get me one.
Advocate enough.
Where do you get that gelato?
Oh, different places. I think Walmart has it.
I'll have to look.
They have a Mediterranean mint, and they have a coffee one.
Mint anything.
But, so that's kind of, what I use. My cup is just a part of my AeroPress, which is the newest thing that I've added to my backpacking and my kitchen kit, and I'm really in love with it. It's probably going to have its own special naming ceremony or something. I don't know. I love it so much. It's really fast to use. It's really easy to clean up, and the coffee is super delicious. So,
in case you can't tell, listener, coffee is very important to us.
Coffee is a huge.
So I feel like we're going to revisit the topic of coffee and coffee making probably more than once moving forward. It's pretty inexpensive, but it's relatively light. It's a Stanley cook pot that has like a French press insert in it. So that is what I cook in and also make coffee. It's not the lightest, but it works really, really well for me, and I love it. And it makes like almost a full pot of coffee. So, which I can down on my own anyway. So, I love that little Stanley. She's been a really good little cook pot so far. I also bring a really lightweight, I think it's a little titanium bowl. Sometimes I'll bring a little plate. It just kind of depends on what I'm feeling and how heavy my pack is already. I have a little set of metal interlocking utensils. They are not as light as they could be, but I just really like them, so I bring them. But I know a lot of people will just bring like one long spoon. That's like the famed like one long spoon, so because you can eat and like stir pot and like do everything with it. So I guess if you're just looking for one utensil, I would get one long spoon.
One long spoon?
One long spoon.
Sounds like the name of a song or something.
It could be. Or a band or something.
Backpacking songs.
And I guess that's pretty much it as far as like my cooking and food gear goes. I don't bring a whole lot.
I do have a little scrubby and some camp suds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use them a lot, really.
Mm-mm.
I did before I started. Like, I don't really cook my meals in the pot as much as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of now just boil the water and, like, pour it in the bowl or whatever.
I do that more, too.
So that helps.
It does help. It helps a lot on not having to clean as much and whatnot. I agree. I bring some Dr. Bronner's that I do use on dishes if I need to, and I also use it on myself if I need to. So, and I do bring a little scrubby. I would probably bring the scrubby over the soap, just because if you're actually like having to get something off, the scrubby is pretty handy. I also bring a really tiny, lightweight little kitchen towel. I don't have to, but it makes me happy, and I end up using it a ton when I do bring it, just for like to kind of use it as like a hot pad, or just wipe my hands off when I'm cooking, just different things like that. So it's pretty handy.
It is. I actually just added one to my collection. My mom got me this little towel that says screw it, and it has like a corkscrew on it, and for some reason I just felt like that's what it needed to be for.
I think that's perfect.
So
that is its job now.
So I'm copying you.
Well, they're just handy.
They are.
A little kitchen towel. But totally optional. Kind of a luxury, but I sure get a lot of use out of it. Mine come home so dirty, so I must be utilizing it.
Mine's white, so I should probably just like dye it brown ahead of time so that I can't see.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good idea. Well, okay, so let's move on to other things that get quite disgusting and dirty out there. Clothing and insulation, I guess we should say.
If you're looking at 10 essentials, it falls under insulation.
Okay.
But I guess, like your extra clothing. I don't know. I think people define things differently.
Yeah, well, let's just discuss clothing real quick. I would recommend, trying to wear layers and breathable, fast-drying materials. I think that's so important. Please don't wear jeans and cottons. I love cotton, but I would not recommend it. We love merino wool. That's probably the number one thing for backpackers that they like to wear, and for good reason. It's cool when it's hot. It's warm when it's cold. I believe it's somewhat like antimicrobial, so it doesn't hold on to like bacteria and whatnot into the fabric like some things do, so it doesn't get as stinky.
Right. It doesn't hold the stink as much, which is a miracle.
It is. And it's just comfy.
It is.
It helps. I really find it helps me regulate my temperature pretty well, like one way or the other. So
I'm interested in investing in some more. I do have a merino t-shirt that's predominantly merino, but it is a blend, and that's kind of an affordable way to go if you're wanting to like get a bit of the benefits but can't afford full merino.
Right. Yeah, it's pricey, so it is kind of something that I'm collecting with time.
Yeah, so I'm just going to run through what I bring as far as clothing.
Sounds good.
So, like, on my body, I usually have a merino shirt, a sports bra, pants. I've done both leggings. They were like a super durable legging that I was pretty pleased with. They were surprisingly breathable. I didn't mind them at all. Probably not my first choice just because, like, sweat and leggings sometimes. Sweat and leggings for 9 days is a little slippery, and they get loose, and trying to put them back on is fun. But right now I have these really great pants that I got with a gift card to Duluth that I think are called Flexpedition pants, and I really love them. They're lightweight, they're water resistant. They have supposedly abrasion resistant technology, which I've tested out by getting myself stuck in a thorn bush, and I will say they definitely are onto something there. So I love them. They're comfortable. But basically, shirt, pants. I do bring like a super lightweight, kind of water resistant long sleeve, mostly for just like sun coverage when I don't want to wear sunscreen.
Me too.
For my feet, I wear Injinji toe liner socks, which we're probably going to revisit in just a moment because we both have them and they're pretty awesome. I have some darn tough medium weight socks that are really great as well, but I have used other socks of mine mixed with the Injinji toe liner socks and been just as happy. So, and then I have my boots, of course. So that's what I wear. And then I usually pack like a base layer legging for sleeping in. Depending on time of year, I have kind of a really lightweight synthetic fleece shirt, but if I were to do more like hot weather camping, I might switch that up. I like to bring sleep socks that are fuzzy. I don't know why, but like at the end of the day, popping on some fuzzy socks is just everything. I do also bring compression socks, which is kind of a new one. Super pleased with adding that though, because I usually try to put them on like the second I get to camp, and I really feel like they help with recovery for my achy legs. I don't sleep in them, but I try to get like a couple hours in at camp with them. And then I have a lightweight fleece jacket. I have a puffy vest I'll occasionally bring. I have a little lightweight merino hat. I have an extra pair of sandals that I use for water crossings and for at camp. And then I usually will bring at least one extra pair of socks and extra pair of underwear, although full disclosure, I did once go 9 days on one pair of underwear, so it's
Yes,
possible.
Yes, it is.
I don't recommend though. And that's it for my clothes.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like clothing kind of comes back to like personal preferences.
Yeah.
And what you're willing to carry versus what's going to keep you comfortable. Sometimes those things don't align.
Yeah.
You know, we pretty much stuck to just one outfit for day and then one outfit, you know, like a pair of sleeping clothes. Moving forward on longer hikes, I may bring a change. I don't know. You know, you just kind of have to decide what you're comfortable with, and it's kind of a personal choice if you're willing to carry extra weight for a change of clothes. So,
yeah.
I'll also usually bring a base layer of something warm to sleep in, camp socks. A lot of times, even when it's hot out, I'll bring some sort of like really thin beanie in case that my ears get cold at night. You know, gloves if the weather's, you know, requires them. I'll usually bring a buff or bandana. It can be handy just to have or to wipe your face off or whatever. Just really focus on the quick drying fabrics. I'll bring a fleece. I want a new down puffy jacket, but it's not yet in my possession. So that's pretty much it. Pretty similar to Katy. I think I might change out of underwear a little bit more frequently than she does.
That was honestly not like intentional. It's just I didn't have I had ordered a pair and they hadn't come in, and I just didn't have anything else that
you wanted to bring.
That I wanted to bring.
I also think you just wanted to challenge yourself to that a little bit of like one pair of hiking clothes, that's it for this entire trip, you know.
I did for that whole trip really try to pare down my weight and see like how little that I could get away with.
And what you would really miss.
Yeah, I did learn a lot from that, so I don't really regret it, but it was gross. So
yeah,
I'll be bringing. And I would say like even if you don't want to bring a full extra pair of clothes, I'm thinking even just like extra underwear and extra sports bra would make a world of difference.
I think so too.
Even if you don't carry like a whole other shirt.
Yeah.
Because my bra is what kind of like held moisture.
Yeah.
Sometimes
your clothes just never dry out.
The noses are scrunching just at the thought.
Yeah, they are. We're making some unattractive faces thinking about our week-long sweaty sports bras.
Ooh, the sweaties are back.
They must have heard us talking about it. Oh, and something, you know, we have to mention real quick before we move on from clothing is to bring your rain gear.
Yes.
Bring a rain jacket or a poncho.
And again, what we're sharing is like pretty specific to the areas that we're hiking in, so definitely do your research because it's a whole other ball game when you're going to be climbing up mountains.
So true.
Like 14ers.
And I have to reiterate really quick that I have been turned on to the Injinji toe socks by Katy, and they have been such a game changer for me, so that's always going to be on my feet. I always used to get blisters between my toes, and I don't at all anymore since I moved to these socks. And I love topping them with a pair of wool socks.
Yeah.
Different weights depending on what season it is. I've got summer ones and I've got winter ones, but I'm a big fan of some wool socks.
So yeah, if you've come across the Injinji toe sock recommendation, we're here to tell you, like, they mean it. It's for real.
If you struggle with blisters, for me, but they were between my toes, but I think it kind of varies. Different people seem to benefit when they get all sorts of blister patterns. So I would recommend them. They're not very expensive anyway, so it's kind of an easy thing to try without investing too much into it.
Yeah. So along the lines of like other forms of insulation as it's written on the 10 essentials, we talk about shelter and sleep system, clothing, all of that keeps you insulated. We talk about the emergency blankets, which I will never not have in my pack just because they've saved me so often.
Yeah.
If you're day hiking, they also just make like bivvies, just for like if you had an emergency situation and wanted to crawl inside it. Some other things that I throw in my pack sometimes to help me with staying warm when I need to are the hot hands.
Yep.
I also, you know, depending on the time of year, that's probably something that's always going to be in my pack.
Yeah.
So.
Me too. And, you know, you can if you happen to have an Algene, you can boil water and stick in there. If, you know, slip in your sleeping bag, things like that if you are freezing cold. But worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Totally worthwhile. Well, do we want to just jump into shoes real quick?
Yeah.
What do you... We're kind of skipping a couple topics here, but I guess we can kind of come back around. So shoes. A lot of people love trail runners. I have not personally tried them. I use boots. I'm happy with my boots. I would like a pair of trail runners because I would like to get into trail running.
Yeah.
But as far as just hiking our rocky ass Ozarks, I love my boots.
I do too. I have tried hiking in trail runners. I will say the terrain that I chose to do that on was not ideal, probably. I mean, it didn't help that it was all rocks and stuff. My ankles really suffered for it. But the thing is, like, that's most of the terrain that we hike on. Like,
right.
So I just can't see it being that much different. So I invested in a pair of boots that I really love. They're not as heavy as some hiking boots. They're really lightweight. I just love them. They're super comfortable for me. A lot of the times the reason they choose trail runners is because, you know, most boots are waterproof, and if they do get wet, it's really hard to dry them out. So I think a lot of people like to just wear trail runners and go right through the creek crossings and not worry about any of that and have them dry out. That's not really my thing per se, but
yeah,
I think that's the appeal maybe. But I am interested in getting some also for trail running, but also because I'm interested in hiking a slot canyon at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So that one, it would not make sense to wear my boots because you're walking through water most of the day.
Right.
So I've read that a lot of people just wear trail runners, and then I guess there's neoprene socks that you can get, which I'm going to have to look into a little bit, but
weird.
It was kind of interesting because that was my big question was, like, do people just walk in wet socks all day? Because that sounds super unappealing to me.
Agree.
But
interesting.
Some people also hike in sandals, which we have on some occasions like changed into our sandals for short stretches just to give our toes a break.
I day hike.
It was pretty nice.
In sandals sometimes, but
yeah. I don't think I'd want to hike for like a week in just sandals, but
no.
Some people got tough feet, I guess.
I barely make it in my boots, so.
Some people also like the zero drop, like the barefoot style shoes, so lots of options.
You just kind of have to know what you like. I kind of have a wide toe box. That's a thing. So, you know, I can kind of Google and research based on that because that's what I need. So if you kind of know what kind of foot you have, that's honestly a good place to start, is just researching like which trail shoes do people with wide toe boxes really like, you know, or
right.
just wide feet or whatever. So I think that can kind of help. If you know what kind of foot you have, it can kind of help narrow down what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, and whatever shoe that you have for your day-to-day life that you already have, that could also be a good jumping off point. Like, if there's a brand that you have a history of it working well for your foot, you could kind of see what options they may have in, like, the trail runner or the hiking boot.
So true. A lot of athletic brands have trail runners.
Yeah.
You don't even realize till you start looking, so.
Yeah, I would start there. My boots are the same brand as some tennis shoes that I had gotten several years ago that I just absolutely love. So that's why I ended up trying them, and I'm super happy with them.
It's just snowballed.
So a couple other things that you're going to have are some electronics, like your phone, some sort of battery bank, phone charger. I have an Anchor battery bank. I don't know exactly what model, but it works super well. It lasted me for quite a while. With my phone on airplane mode, just like turning it on to check messages morning and evening, that battery bank got me through like our whole 9-day trip in Georgia. So I was super impressed by that.
Yeah.
But there are other options. There's solar charged ones as well.
Yeah. Which I am interested in, but I think you have to be mindful because we do what they, hike through what they call so much the green tunnel, that you don't get just tons and tons of direct sun sometimes. So
that's
just something you have to be mindful of.
Yeah, and then like you mentioned, carrying extra batteries for, flashlights, or
Yeah.
if we're bringing little Michael along to record, we're going to have to bring some batteries for him probably.
Right, right.
So we also have our own little hygiene kits that are, again, just personalized to you.
Yeah. So I think we've each kind of come up with our own little personalized hygiene kit. I'll just kind of tell you maybe what's in some of mine. This is just going to vary so much from person to person. I would just recommend you really consider what you cannot live without. For me, one of those things is like my eye care, because I either have to wear glasses or contacts, so I have to bring the appropriate things that I need for that. I will sometimes bring body wipes, sometimes a small bottle of soap, a little tea tree oil, sometimes a small washcloth, of course, any of your necessary medications, sunscreen, always a toothbrush. You can get little mini ones, or you can cut it off to save yourself like a third of an ounce or something. A tiny toothpaste. I mean, all that is optional, but I would recommend to continue to brush your teeth even when on trail. This one's a huge one, so important. Hand sanitizer, and then I will bring hair ties, maybe a small comb. I feel like a lot of that is kind of optional depending on how grubby you want to get out there, but
Yeah.
I'd say hand sanitizer is really not optional if you want to stay healthy and not with some like intestinal trouble.
Mine's, essentially the same. In my hip belt pocket, I usually have my lip balm, my sunscreen, and my hand sanitizer. And then I have a little ditty bag where I have carried antibiotic wipes, but the last couple times I've just brought a cloth and a little bottle of witch hazel, which I do deal well with. I have these tiny dram bottles that I can use for essential oils, so I like to bring tea tree oil, which I use in place of deodorant, and pretty much put on any skin ailment that I have. I also bring peppermint oil, which I like to rub on my achy knees and ankles and feet in the evening after I've kind of wiped down a bit. It just feels really nice. It's kind of a luxury. I have brought lavender. I honestly didn't use it for much other than just occasionally sniffing when I started feeling a bit stressed.
Yeah.
But it was kind of nice.
Yeah. Might still be worthwhile.
Purpose.
Yeah.
Also toothbrush, toothpaste. Along that lines, toilet paper and extra Ziploc bags to put my used toilet paper in.
Yes.
And rolling from that into the business, I guess, in addition to the toilet paper and the Ziploc bag for trash, I have a piss cloth by Circe Care. It's kind of like the Kula cloth. It's slightly cheaper. And then a trowel.
Yeah. Yeah, so I kind of have a little bathroom kit I made. I think we both do. So I keep a little bit of TP. I mostly use, mine is also not the Kula, but it's like a Kula type cloth. Hand sanitizer in there, a Ziploc for trash. And just in general, I bring Ziplocs. I bring a big Ziploc for my food trash. I bring extras just in case. Ziplocs can be very handy. And I have my little shovel in my little bathroom kit. I actually popped the handle off of it because it weighed 4 times more than the actual shovel. So, you cut where you can sometimes. But, it's important to be ready to, again, leave no trace, including when you go to the bathroom. So,
yeah. And just kind of items with no other place to land.
Yeah.
You can carry a pack liner. I just carry a garbage bag. It's worked fine for me.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to be raining, I just put everything that's not already in a waterproof bag, or a dry bag, I guess. I'll put it in the garbage bag and tie it up real tight, and that's worked perfectly fine for me. I also like to carry a couple microfiber towels. Not small ones, like the kind of bigger to normal size towels.
Yeah, I carry one too. Super handy.
So yeah, I love those. And then something I don't have, but you might need, is the bear canisters again, or the bear bag hanging equipment.
Right, depending on where you are and what you need. I kind of put on some extra essentials as my phone, ID. I usually bring a small amount of cash and, of course, my car keys. But these are all very important to make sure that you have on person before you launch off on trail.
Yeah.
And I think, there's lots of luxury options. for some folks, maybe less optional and more required, like a lightweight chair, especially, people with some physical, limitations. You might want to bring a chair along. You can get really cool, like little lightweight backpacking ones. Some people bring a book. I usually would bring a journal or a pen or pencil, something to jot down my thoughts on. And of course, it would be fun to bring a camera and tripod if you have the
super fun
gumption in the.
I haven't brought a book, but I could see it being nice if I were solo hiking to have at camp, just winding down.
And just to not feel so alone maybe at times.
So also trekking poles.
Yeah, very important. Maybe not for everyone.
Yeah.
But you gotta have trekking poles in my mind.
Yeah.
So.
Before I started backpacking, I kind of chuckled at the concept of trekking poles. Because, we grow up in the outdoors and we run all over, I grew up in Alaska, like running up mountains every summer. And so it's almost laughable when you approach it of like, oh, but I think we did touch on in the last episode just the huge difference between day hiking and backpacking.
Right.
And so trekking poles, they really do help take some of that load off. Like, they help your knees.
They do.
You do have to use them appropriately, but...
Yeah, I think if you can learn to use them appropriately, which I'm not totally sure that I am still yet.
Yeah.
I've read that it can take up like 40% off of the work off your knees or something, like a pretty substantial amount if you're using them properly. Not to mention you might need to hit something with it.
They are really handy for like flinging sticks off the trail and stuff like that, I will say.
All kinds of things.
Well, and also like they're essential for me because my tent uses them.
Right.
So like all other things aside.
Right. Well, I would say that they are essential to me just because they've saved my butt from falling off a few hillsides. And they were very uncomfortable for me at first, and I wasn't convinced on them at first, and now I just wouldn't go without them. So
yeah,
I'll sing their praises.
They're awesome.
Trekking poles.
We're gonna have all these random little songs
I know.
One long spoon.
I know. I forgot about that one already. Okay.
So I will say that gear is a very difficult topic to approach without it becoming sprawling.
Right.
Like, we have done our absolute best to try to be concise, but there's just so much.
It sprawls.
Yeah, it does.
It just sprawls, y'all.
Even like within every individual item, there are so many variables and aspects to cover, and we certainly haven't covered them all.
Right.
Our goal was to try to give you a good idea of just a basic gear list. But I think we're probably going to post in the show notes the actual just list.
Right.
Because I think, talking through and listening through, it's difficult to...
Good luck taking notes.
Yeah. Get your notebook.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we will try to post some links. We will also try to link some of, like, the navigational apps that we talked about.
Yeah.
Just some of the things that we mentioned that we recommend or have found helpful. We will definitely provide links so that you can find them for yourself.
Yeah.
Because we do, it is our goal, again, to just try to be helpful, and there are so many resources out there. So if something in particular we said interests you, we'd love to just help you find your way to it a little quicker.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's...
I feel like there was something I was going to say right now, and then now I've, blanked on it, so nice job, me. The topic of gear is just so big. We could go on probably for hours. There's just so much context with every piece, of how it might work here and not work there. So these are all things we're going to be revisiting as I hope we continue to record. And as we change our own gear up and whatnot, this is just a little taste, but we hope to deep dive into more of these things.
Yeah, I would love to. And I would just say to, let your gear gathering be a personal journey, because it is kind of fun to do the reading and kind of get an idea of what you'll like and to try it. There's nothing more exciting than finally ordering something and having it arrive and just opening it. It's just like Christmas every time.
It is so true.
And I don't know, I think take people's advice, including ours, with a grain of salt, because everybody's different and you just really got to find what works for you.
You do.
And some people really like to get on a soapbox about certain things, so I don't know, I guess just don't be bullied into getting something, because it needs to work for you specifically.
Right. Absolutely. And sometimes the only way you're going to figure that out is if you get out there and give it a try. So, ultimately that's what we recommend. Is just give it a try.
Give it a try.
But I think that pretty well covers our topics for today, Katie. What do you think? Are you tired yet?
I am tired, and I'm kind of excited to wrap this up for the moment and maybe do something fun next time, and then maybe jump back in on food.
Yeah, we want to really, talk to you guys about what we like to eat and what we like to cook and kind of what that looks like and how we make that happen. But we also just want to get away from some of the homework we feel like we've been doing a lot of this gear listing and whatnot, and hopefully share a little bit more about ourselves and our journey as backpackers, and also just, get a little goofy.
Yeah.
Lighten up
Take
a little
the load
bit.
off.
The load has been a bit heavy. The pack has been heavy thus far, but we're really enjoying the journey. So thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes, and we are on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram. It's just High Water Trek Co. So look us up. You could also send us an email at highwatertrekco@gmail.com. We would really love to hear from the community, just no matter if you're a newbie or experienced and you want to call us out. I guess that's okay.
Yeah,
but
we probably deserve some of that. So, but we embrace that. We know that.
Yeah. We're open to learn. Just,
yeah.
We want to build community that's inclusive and, that doesn't cut people down, so.
Right. But we're still learning. I hope I never stop learning, so.
I certainly am not going to.
So thanks, guys. We love you.
We will see you next time.
Happy trails. I just think these first ones, it's like heavy on the topic and less on the conversation, but that's okay. That's just part of we got to get this stuff out. I feel like.
Yeah. It's normal that getting started is the most difficult,
right?
Time-consuming.
It's like the
part.
syllabus. It's like syllabus day on your first day of class. No one wants to read the syllabus, but you have to.
I think that was when I was doing online classes, the one I got the worst grade.
I know.
Was the achieving academic excellence, where it's just talking about SMART goals and all of that stuff. I'm just I just did not pay enough attention.
Now
I was shoot.
Oh, hi. I don't know what you are. You can go on.
You don't need to be on her person, though.
No. I thought it was a wasp, though, so whatever that
I thought it was too.
freak bug was, I'm fine with him.
Did he just fly into you and then die of fright? What happened?
I don't know. Is he...
I don't think he's dead. He's did he stun himself?
I don't
Weirdo.
know. Is he going into his...
He fell out of the sky and
sleep
died.
phase? I'm sorry. He touched me and he died. Golly.
Some of these bugs are not the brightest, I tell you.
That's kind of an unusual looking one, though.
It is.
I had a thought I was going to share with you, and then the bug attacked, so...
Yeah. This episode could be fraught with bug attacks.
Kind of making them good. This is just such a good LaCroix. I can't get over it. I have to find me one of these.